Good evening, fellow treasure seekers, and welcome back to the Sleeping Economist. I'm your host, and tonight's gentle journey through history takes us to medieval Europe in the year 1119, where we'll discover how the mysterious Knights Templar forever changed the way people think about money and wealth. Picture this. Jerusalem has been recaptured by Christian crusaders. Pilgrims flood dangerous roads seeking the Holy Land, and in the shadows of ancient temples, warrior monks are quietly inventing the very foundations of modern banking. But before we begin our voyage through time together, please take a moment to like this video if you enjoy these historical bedtime stories, subscribe to join our growing community of financial time travelers, and drop a comment to let us know where in the world you're listening tonight and what period of financial history fascinates you most. I always say, we love sharing these treasury tales with you, but we love hearing about your favourite historical discoveries even more. Now then, shall we dim the lights, settle in with whatever brings you comfort, and gently explore tonight's beautifully intriguing tale from the treasury of human history? I do hope you're prepared for some peaceful time travel that will carry you gently into dreams of golden ages past. Take a deep breath and step into the muddy streets of medieval Europe, where the year 1119 dawns crisp and full of possibility. The cobblestones beneath your feet tell stories of countless merchants, pilgrims and dreamers who've walked this same path. Your purse jingles with heavy silver coins as you make your way through the morning market. Each coin bears the face of a different king, and frankly, half of them might be counterfeit. Welcome to medieval banking, where trust is scarce and your money weighs more than your breakfast. The baker's wife eyes your coins suspiciously before testing each one with her teeth. She's learned from experience that a silver coin might be lead wrapped in precious metal, crafted by someone with questionable ethics and impressive creativity. "Can't be too careful these days," she mutters, handing you a warm loaf that smells like heaven and costs like gold. Last week Brother Martin tried to pay for his bread with a coin that turned out to be painted wood. "Monks!" She chuckles and shakes her head. Around the marketplace, merchants huddle together, sharing the latest horror stories about travelling with money. Pierre the cloth merchant lost his entire fortune to bandits just outside Paris. Marie the spice trader buried her savings in her garden, only to have her neighbour's pig dig them up and scatter them across 3 villages. The ironsmith pounds his anvil and calls out, "Anyone know a safe way to get 30 silver marks to my brother in Rome? He's getting married next month, and I can't exactly mail it." The crowd erupts in laughter because everyone knows the postal service consists of whoever happens to be travelling in the right direction. This is the world where keeping money safe requires the strategic thinking of a chess master and the paranoia of a castle guard. Most people solve the problem by simply not having much money to worry about, which is wonderfully efficient but tragically limiting. The monastery bells ring across the town, calling the faithful to prayer. These religious communities have become the closest thing to banks that exist. Brother Francis keeps the town's valuables locked in a chest beneath the altar, protected by holy vows and a very large, very unfriendly dog named Goliath. But even the monks face challenges. Last month, the Abbey of Saint-Denis received a desperate letter from a pilgrim stranded in Venice. He deposited his travel funds with the monks in Paris, but now he needed those same coins in Italy. The monks scratched their heads and wondered how exactly one transports money across half of Europe without getting robbed, killed, or both. Meanwhile, the roads to Jerusalem buzz with activity. Pilgrims from every corner of Europe trudge along dusty paths, carrying everything they own in rough cloth bundles. They're pursuing the adventure of a lifetime, a spiritual journey to the Holy Land that might cost them everything they have. Thomas the Fuller sets out from England with enough silver to buy a small farm. He's saved for 7 years, working every daylight hour to afford this sacred journey. His wife Mary has sewn his coins into the lining of his cloak, which now weighs approximately as much as a suit of armour, and makes him walk like a very devout penguin. The journey to Jerusalem takes months. Thomas must pay for food, lodging, guides, and safe passage through territories controlled by lords who view pilgrims as convenient sources of income. By the time he reaches the Holy Land, he'll be lucky to have enough coins left to buy a decent meal. But Thomas represents just one of thousands making this journey. The pilgrim economy has created a massive financial puzzle. How do you move wealth safely across thousands of miles through territories where your money is worth more than your life? The solution most pilgrims choose is surprisingly simple. They pray a lot and hope for the best. This strategy works about as well as you'd expect, which is to say it doesn't work at all, but it does provide excellent motivation for spiritual reflection. In Jerusalem itself, the city hums with a fascinating mixture of cultures. Christian pilgrims, Muslim merchants, and Jewish traders create a cosmopolitan atmosphere where business deals happen in 4 languages and nobody trusts anybody completely. The recently conquered city offers opportunities for those brave enough to seize them. Innkeepers, guides, and money changers all profit from the steady stream of visitors, but the same diversity that creates opportunity also creates complications. How do you exchange French silver for local currency when the exchange rate changes faster than the weather? How do you verify the authenticity of coins minted in countries you've never heard of? How do you collect debts from someone who lives 3 months' journey away? These practical challenges frustrate everyone involved. Merchants lose fortunes to fraud. Pilgrims arrive penniless. Even the money changers struggle to keep track of the bewildering variety of currencies flowing through their hands. Into this chaotic but vibrant world, 9 knights are about to arrive with an idea so simple and so revolutionary that it will transform the entire concept of money forever. They call themselves the Poor Knights of Christ and of the Temple of Solomon. The irony of their name will become apparent soon enough. These men who've sworn to own nothing personally are about to become the richest organization in medieval Europe. They're going to solve the pilgrim economy's greatest puzzle, and in doing so, they'll accidentally invent modern banking. But that's a story for our next chapter, when we'll meet these remarkable individuals and discover how a small group of idealistic warrior monks changed the world by simply trying to help travelers avoid getting robbed. The morning sun filters through the narrow windows of a modest stone chamber in Jerusalem, where 9 men sit around a rough wooden table that's seen better centuries. Their breakfast consists of bread, water, and the kind of grand ambitions that would make their mothers simultaneously proud and terrified. Meet Hugh de Payens, a knight from the French countryside, who possesses the rare combination of military skill and an accountant's mind. Hugh has spent years watching pilgrims arrive in Jerusalem with empty purses and broken dreams, and frankly, he's had enough of the whole tragic situation. There has to be a better way, Hugh mutters, stroking his beard thoughtfully. He's the kind of man who sees a problem and immediately starts sketching solutions on whatever surface happens to be available. Today, that surface is the table, much to the annoyance of his companions. Beside him sits Godfrey de Saint-Omer, whose family connections read like a medieval who's who directory. Godfrey brings something invaluable to their little group. He actually knows people who matter, and more importantly, people who have money to lend to crazy schemes. My cousin knows a banker in Venice, Godfrey offers helpfully. Well, he's more of a money changer, really. Actually, he's my cousin's neighbour's brother-in-law, but he handles coins professionally. In medieval Europe, this counts as a solid business connection. André de Montbard rounds out their leadership trio, and he possesses a secret weapon. His nephew Bernard is quickly becoming one of the most influential religious leaders in Europe. Bernard has the kind of reputation that makes popes listen and kings reconsider their life choices. Bernard says we have divine backing, André announces confidently. He also says we're completely insane, but in a holy sort of way. This endorsement will prove more valuable than gold, though considerably less useful for buying groceries. The other 6 knights each bring their own unique talents to this medieval startup. There's Payan de Montdidier, who has an uncanny ability to remember every merchant's face and their credit history. Archambault de Saint-Agnan possesses the diplomatic skills necessary to negotiate with people who would rather stab you than shake your hand. Geoffrey Baisol contributes military expertise and the kind of strategic thinking that comes from surviving several crusades. Roland speaks 4 languages fluently and can curse in 6 more, making him invaluable for international relations. Then there's Gondomare, whose family owns property across half of France, and Rosal, who understands the finer points of canon law better than most bishops. Together, they form the medieval equivalent of a think tank, if think tanks wore armour and carried swords. Their meeting place holds special significance. King Baldwin II of Jerusalem has granted them permission to establish headquarters in the Al-Aqsa Mosque, built on the site of Solomon's Temple. This isn't just prime real estate. It's a location that screams legitimacy to every Christian in Europe. "So we're the poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon," Hugh announces, gesturing grandly at their surroundings. "We protect pilgrims, we've sworn vows of poverty, and we're living in the most expensive neighbourhood in Jerusalem. Does anyone else see the irony here?" The knights exchange glances. They've all noticed that their vows of personal poverty don't actually prevent them from handling other people's money. In fact, it might be the perfect qualification for the job. Their original mission seems straightforward enough: protect pilgrims travelling the dangerous roads between the port city of Jaffa and Jerusalem. But, as they discuss the practical challenges, their vision begins to expand in fascinating directions. "It's not just about fighting bandits," Godfrey explains, sketching a rough map on the table. "Thomas the Fuller from England arrives with enough silver to buy a horse. By the time he reaches Jerusalem, he can barely afford a decent meal. Where did his money go?" The knights begin listing the expenses: corrupt guides, inflated prices at inns, exchange rates that change faster than the weather, and the constant need to carry enough cash for emergencies. The medieval travel industry makes modern airline fees look reasonable. "What if," Hugh suggests carefully, "we could solve the money problem instead of just the bandit problem?" This question hangs in the air like incense, beautiful and potentially dangerous. Andre leans forward eagerly. Bernard always says that true service means addressing root causes, not just symptoms. Maybe God wants us to think bigger than just sword work. They begin sketching out a revolutionary idea. What if pilgrims could deposit their money with the Templars in their home country, then withdraw the same amount in Jerusalem? No more carrying heavy coins across thousands of miles. No more losing fortunes to highway robbery. "It's brilliant," Pion exclaims. "We could have commanderies in every major city. Pilgrims deposit their money in Paris, we give them a receipt, and they collect their funds in Jerusalem. Simple." Rosal, ever the lawyer, raises practical concerns. How do we prevent fraud? What if someone forges our receipts? How do we transport the actual money without losing it to the same bandits we're trying to help pilgrims avoid? The knights spend hours discussing these challenges, and their solutions become increasingly sophisticated. They develop ideas about coded documents, trusted messengers, and standardized procedures that would make modern banks envious. Word of their activities spreads through the pilgrim community like gossip in a small village. Soon, wealthy merchants and nobles begin approaching them with intriguing propositions. "I need to get 500 silver marks to my business partner in Constantinople," explains a Venetian trader. "I'll pay you 50 marks for the service, plus expenses. Interested?" The knights exchange meaningful glances. They're discovering that their unique position creates unprecedented opportunities. They're trusted because they've sworn religious vows. They're respected because they're skilled warriors. They're connected because they serve pilgrims from every corner of Europe. Most importantly, they're developing something the medieval world desperately needs: a reputation for absolute honesty. When Brother Bernard endorses their integrity, kings and merchants alike take notice. "We're not just protecting pilgrims anymore," Hugh realizes during one of their evening discussions. "We're creating an entirely new way of conducting business across borders." The transformation happens gradually. Their simple stone chamber becomes a meeting place for merchants, nobles, and church officials. Their rough wooden table hosts negotiations that span continents. They recruit carefully, seeking knights who combine military prowess with business acumen. Each new member brings local connections, language skills, and cultural knowledge that expands their capabilities. Their network grows organically. A commandery in Paris, another in London, a third in Rome. Each location becomes both a training centre and a financial hub, staffed by knights who understand that protecting pilgrims requires more than sharp swords. The local communities welcome them enthusiastically. These warrior monks don't just provide security, they bring stability, honesty, and innovation to regions plagued by financial chaos. By the time they realize what they've created, the poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon have accidentally invented the world's first international banking system. They're still sleeping on straw mattresses and eating simple meals, but they're processing financial transactions that would make Renaissance bankers weep with envy. We started out wanting to help pilgrims avoid getting robbed, Godfrey muses one evening, as they review their expanding operations. Now, we're revolutionizing the entire concept of money. Hugh nods thoughtfully. Sometimes the best solutions come from the most unlikely places. Who would have thought that 9 knights with nothing to lose would figure out how to safely move wealth across the known world? But as these remarkable men settled into their evening prayers, they had no idea that their simple desire to serve others would transform them into the most powerful financial institution in medieval Europe, or that their innovations would echo through centuries to shape the modern world. The dusty roads between Paris and Jerusalem have never seen anything quite like what's about to unfold. Picture Brother William, a merchant's son turned monk, sitting in the newly established Templar commandery in Paris, staring at a piece of parchment that's about to change everything. So, let me understand this correctly, William says, adjusting his spectacles. Master Guillaume wants to send 50 gold marks to Jerusalem, but instead of carrying the actual coins, we give him this letter. He waves the parchment like it might bite him. Hugh de Payens, visiting from Jerusalem, grins with the confidence of someone who's just solved a 1,000-year-old puzzle. Exactly. Guillaume deposits his gold here in Paris, we give him our sealed letter, and when he reaches Jerusalem, my brothers there will honour it with the equivalent amount. William frowns. But what about the actual gold? How does it get from Paris to Jerusalem? Ah, Hugh says mysteriously, that's the beautiful part. It doesn't need to travel at all. The system they've developed is elegantly simple, which makes it absolutely revolutionary for the medieval world. The Templars have discovered that money doesn't need to move physically if trust moves instead. Here's how their ingenious system works. When Guillaume deposits 50 gold marks in Paris, he doesn't just receive a receipt. He gets a letter of credit written in a special code that only Templars can read. The letter includes his name, the amount, and a series of symbols that would make modern cryptographers proud. Meanwhile, in Jerusalem, other pilgrims are making deposits to send money back to Europe. The Templars have realized that money flows in both directions, so they can balance their books without ever moving a single coin across dangerous roads. It's like magic, Guillaume marvels when the system is explained to him, but holier, and with less risk of being turned into a toad. The first successful transaction creates a sensation in the pilgrim community. Guillaume arrives in Jerusalem with nothing but his clothes and the Templar letter. The Jerusalem commander, André de Montbard, examines the coded document, nods approvingly, and counts out 50 gold marks. "Welcome to the Holy Land," André says with a smile. "Your money has been waiting for you." Word spreads faster than gossip in a monastery. Soon, pilgrims are lining up at Templar commanderies across Europe, eager to try this miraculous new service. The knights have accidentally discovered that their greatest weapon isn't their swords, but their reputation for honesty. The Templars charge a modest fee for their services, typically 2% of the transaction. This might seem expensive until you consider the alternative: hiring armed guards, buying insurance from merchants, and still losing everything to bandits who view pilgrims as walking treasure chests. 2% to guarantee my money arrives safely, Merchant Pierre calculates aloud. Last year I lost 30% to highway robbery. This is the bargain of the century. The system's success creates an interesting problem. The Templars are becoming embarrassingly wealthy for an organization that's sworn vows of poverty. They solve this dilemma with typical medieval logic. Individual knights own nothing, but their order can accumulate unlimited wealth for the greater good. Their Jerusalem headquarters transforms from a simple monastic dwelling into a bustling financial centre. Knights who once spent their days polishing armour now find themselves managing complex international transactions and maintaining detailed financial records. Brother Payan has developed a filing system that would make modern accountants weep with joy. Every transaction is recorded in duplicate, with one copy remaining in the originating commandery and another travelling to Jerusalem for the master records. Organisation is a form of prayer, Payan explains to younger knights who complain about paperwork. God appreciates accurate bookkeeping just as much as sharp swords. The Templars' reputation for financial reliability attracts attention from unexpected quarters. Kings begin approaching them about managing royal treasures. Merchants propose joint ventures. Even other religious orders seek their advice about handling monastery finances. King Louis VII of France becomes one of their most important clients, entrusting the Templars with managing the royal treasury during his absence on crusade. This royal endorsement transforms them from a helpful religious order into Europe's most trusted financial institution. If it's good enough for the King of France, nobles across Europe reason, it's certainly good enough for us. Their network expands rapidly. Commanderies open in London, Rome, Barcelona, and dozens of smaller cities. Each location becomes both a local bank and a link in their international chain of financial services. The Knights develop increasingly sophisticated procedures. They create standardized forms, establish regular communication schedules, and train specialists in different aspects of their growing business. Some knights focus on security, others on accounting, still others on customer relations. Their success attracts imitators, but none can match the Templars' unique combination of military reputation, religious credibility, and international reach. Competitors quickly discover that trust, once established, becomes a powerful competitive advantage. The Italian banking families of Florence and Venice watch the Templars' success with professional interest and perhaps a touch of envy. They've solved the fundamental problem of medieval commerce, observes Giovanni de' Medici, whose family will later revolutionize banking themselves. But the Templars' rapid growth creates new challenges. Managing money across vast distances requires more than good intentions and honest hearts. They need systems, procedures, and fail-safes to prevent disasters. Brother Rosal, their legal expert, develops the first international banking regulations. These rules govern everything from document authentication to dispute resolution, creating standards that will influence banking practices for centuries. We're not just moving money, Rosal explains to his fellow knights. We're creating an entirely new form of commerce based on trust rather than physical possession. The psychological impact of their system proves as revolutionary as its practical benefits. For the first time in medieval history, people can travel without carrying their entire wealth in vulnerable coin purses. This freedom transforms the pilgrim experience. Instead of worrying constantly about robbery, pilgrims can focus on their spiritual journey. Instead of arriving in Jerusalem impoverished, they can afford proper accommodations and meaningful religious experiences. The Templars have accidentally discovered that financial security enhances spiritual development. When people aren't worried about their earthly possessions, they're free to pursue higher purposes. As their third decade of operation begins, the Knights Templar have evolved from 9 idealistic warriors into Europe's most sophisticated financial institution. They've proven that innovation often comes from unexpected places, and that the best solutions sometimes emerge from simply trying to help others. But their greatest successes are yet to come, and with them, challenges that will test everything they've built. The year is 1150, and the Templar commandery in Paris has become the most exciting place in medieval Europe that doesn't involve jousting or public executions. Brother Marcus, the new treasurer, stands before a vault that contains more gold than some kingdoms possess, wondering how exactly 9 poor knights managed to become richer than most monarchs. "Sir," his assistant stammers, "King Louis has sent another request. He wants to borrow 3,000 marks for his new cathedral project." Marcus chuckles softly. "Tell His Majesty we'll consider it, but he'll need to provide collateral. Royal promises are lovely, but gold is better." This conversation would have been unthinkable 30 years earlier. The Templars have reached a position where they can negotiate with kings as equals, and frankly, they're enjoying every minute of it. Their transformation into Europe's premier financial institution has created opportunities that even Hugh de Payens couldn't have imagined. The Templars don't just move money anymore, They create it, lend it, and invest it with the skill of seasoned merchants and the caution of experienced soldiers. Pope Eugenius III has granted them extraordinary privileges that make them virtually a law unto themselves. They can collect taxes, build churches, and conduct business across all Christian territories without interference from local authorities. It's the medieval equivalent of being granted a license to print money. We've become what every merchant dreams of, Hugh observes during a rare moment of reflection. We have the trust of the church, the respect of kings, and the gratitude of common people. Plus, we're really good with swords, which tends to discourage disagreements. Their banking operations have evolved into something resembling a modern financial conglomerate. They offer loans to fund crusades, mortgages for castle construction, and investment opportunities for wealthy nobles looking to diversify their portfolios. The Templars have discovered that lending money can be even more profitable than protecting it. When King Edward of England needs funds for his military campaigns, he turns to the Templars. When Barcelona wants to expand its harbour, Templar gold makes it possible. We're not just bankers, explains Brother Geoffrey, their chief lending officer. We're partners in building the future of Christendom. Also, we charge very reasonable interest rates considering the times. Their London commandery has become the unofficial treasury of the English crown. Kings deposit their wealth there not just for safekeeping, but because Templar financial advice has proven consistently profitable. The Knights have developed an almost supernatural ability to predict which ventures will succeed. But their greatest innovation isn't financial, it's architectural. The Templars have begun construction projects that will define medieval Europe for centuries. Their churches, castles, and commanderies showcase engineering techniques that seem almost magical to contemporary observers. The Temple Church in London stands as a testament to their wealth and ambition. Its circular design, inspired by the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, creates a space that's both militaristic and spiritual. The building whispers power in stone and mortar. When people see our buildings, Hugh explains to visiting dignitaries, they understand that we're not just passing through. We're here to stay, and we're here to build something lasting. Their military capabilities have kept pace with their financial success. Templar castles dot the Holy Land like a chain of stone fortresses, each one a masterpiece of defensive engineering. These aren't just military installations, they're statements of intent carved in rock. The castle of Crac des Chevaliers, though built by the Hospitallers, inspires Templar architects to create even more impressive fortifications. Their castles serve multiple purposes: military strongholds, administrative centres, and symbols of their growing power. But success brings scrutiny, and the Templars are beginning to attract attention from quarters that make them slightly uncomfortable. Some nobles whisper about their wealth, questioning how an order sworn to poverty can afford such magnificent buildings. Poverty is a state of mind, Brother André responds to critics with a perfectly straight face. We own nothing personally, but collectively, we're doing quite well for ourselves. The Templars have also begun expanding beyond traditional banking into what modern economists would recognise as international trade finance. They arrange complex deals involving multiple currencies, distant markets, and elaborate shipping arrangements. When Venetian merchants want to trade with Alexandria, Templar letters of credit make it possible. When English wool needs to reach Flemish weavers, Templar financial networks handle the transactions. They've become the lubricant that keeps medieval commerce flowing smoothly. Their success has attracted the brightest minds in Europe. Young nobles compete for positions within the order, seeing it as the fastest path to influence and adventure. The Templars have become the medieval equivalent of a prestigious business school with excellent job placement rates. We're not just training knights anymore, observes Master Geoffrey. We're educating the next generation of European leaders in finance, diplomacy, and strategic thinking. The turning point arrives with stunning suddenness. In 1187, Saladin recaptures Jerusalem, dealing a devastating blow to the Crusader states. The Templars fight valiantly, but their military defeat paradoxically strengthens their position in Europe. Refugees from the Holy Land arrive with tales of Templar heroism and sacrifice. The knights who survived the disaster return to Europe as living legends, their reputation enhanced by their willingness to die for their beliefs. "We may have lost Jerusalem," Hugh declares to his assembled knights, "but we've gained something more valuable, the absolute trust of Christian Europe." The loss of Jerusalem forces the Templars to refocus their energies on their European operations. What began as a temporary setback becomes a strategic advantage. They're no longer just a military order supporting distant crusades. They're an integral part of European society. Their financial empire reaches its zenith during this period. Templar banks operate in every major European city. Their letters of credit are accepted from London to Constantinople. Their investment advice shapes the policies of kingdoms. The irony isn't lost on thoughtful observers. The Knights Templar have achieved ultimate success by losing their original purpose. They set out to protect pilgrims and ended up revolutionizing European finance. But at the height of their power, the seeds of their eventual downfall are already taking root. Success has made them wealthy, wealth has made them powerful, and power has made them enemies among those who feel threatened by their influence. As the 13th century dawns, the Templars stand at the pinnacle of medieval success, unaware that their greatest triumphs are about to become their greatest vulnerabilities. The year is 1307, and King Philip IV of France sits in his royal chamber, staring at a document that will change European history forever. His treasury is emptier than a monk's wine cellar after harvest festival, and his creditors are knocking at the palace gates with increasing urgency. "Your Majesty," his chief advisor whispers nervously, "the Templars are expecting their loan payment next week, all 14,000 marks of it." Philip's eye twitches slightly. He owes the Templars more money than most kingdoms see in a decade, and frankly, he's tired of being lectured about fiscal responsibility by men who've taken vows of poverty while living in palaces. What if, Philip muses with the dangerous creativity of a desperate debtor, we simply eliminated the debt by eliminating the creditor? On Friday, October 13th, 1307, Philip's plan unfolds with military precision. Across France, royal soldiers simultaneously arrest every Templar knight they can find. The charges are serious: heresy, blasphemy, and various other crimes that sound convincing to people who don't ask too many questions. Brother Marcus, the treasurer we met earlier, awakens to find armed men in his chamber. "There must be some mistake," he protests. "I'm a monk, not a criminal." "You're a wealthy monk," the captain replies grimly. In the current political climate, that's apparently the same thing. The arrests create chaos throughout the European banking system. Suddenly, the most trusted financial institution in medieval Europe has become a criminal organization overnight. It's like waking up to discover that your local bank has been declared a terrorist group. Merchants who've relied on Templar services for generations find themselves stranded. Letters of credit become worthless paper. International trade grinds to a halt as the financial network that connected Europe collapses in a single day. "My goods are sitting in London, my payment is stuck in Paris, and my customer is in Barcelona," wails Italian merchant Giovanni. "How exactly am I supposed to conduct business when the entire financial system has been arrested?" Pope Clement V, caught completely off guard by Philip's actions, finds himself in an impossible position. He can't openly support the Templars without defying the King of France, but he can't abandon them without appearing to condone their destruction. The Pope's solution demonstrates medieval political sophistication at its finest. He condemns the arrests while simultaneously launching his own investigation into the charges. It's the 14th century equivalent of playing both sides of a conflict while hoping nobody notices. The trials that follow become a masterclass in medieval justice, which is to say they're about as fair as a dragon fighting contest, where only one side gets weapons. Under torture, some Templars confess to crimes that range from the plausible to the absolutely ridiculous. "They claim we worshipped a demon head called Baphomet," Brother Geoffrey tells his cellmate with weary humour. "I've been with the Order for 20 years, and the most demonic thing I've ever seen was Brother William's cooking." The confessions, obtained through methods that would make modern investigators cringe, provide Philip with the legal justification he needs to seize Templar assets. Suddenly, the French crown's financial problems disappear, along with the Templars' treasure. But the destruction of the Templars creates a power vacuum that other organisations are eager to fill. The Italian banking families, who've watched the Templars' success with professional interest, step forward to claim their abandoned business. The Medici family of Florence, in particular, studies the Templar banking model with the attention of master craftsmen examining a masterpiece. They adopt the Templars' innovations while avoiding their political mistakes. The Templars proved that international banking is possible, observes Giovanni de' Medici. They also proved that becoming too powerful can be dangerous. We'll remember both lessons. The Templar financial network doesn't simply disappear, it transforms. Their former employees carry their knowledge to new employers. Their procedures become standard practice. Their innovations spread throughout Europe like seeds scattered by a harsh wind. The concept of international letters of credit survives the order's destruction and becomes a cornerstone of Renaissance banking. The Templars' accounting methods influence bookkeeping practices for centuries. Their architectural innovations inspire builders across Europe. Even their downfall teaches valuable lessons. Future financial institutions learn the importance of diversifying political relationships and avoiding excessive dependence on any single ruler. The Templars' fate becomes a cautionary tale about the dangers of combining great wealth with visible power. Jacques de Molay, the last Grand Master, maintains his dignity even as he faces execution. His final words, spoken from the flames, allegedly curse Philip and Clement to join him in death within a year. Both men die within months, leading to whispers about divine justice. Perhaps, observers murmur, there was something to those Templar mysteries after all. The treasure that Philip hoped to seize largely disappears, leading to centuries of speculation about hidden Templar wealth. Some historians suggest the Knights, warned by their extensive intelligence network, managed to hide their assets before the arrests. The mystery of the lost Templar treasure captures imaginations for centuries. Every generation produces new theories about secret vaults, hidden documents, and underground networks preserving Templar secrets. But the real treasure isn't gold or silver. It's the ideas the Templars left behind. Their innovations in banking, international finance, and organizational management become the foundation for modern economic systems. The Templars' greatest legacy isn't their military prowess or their mysterious rituals. It's their demonstration that trust can be more valuable than gold. They proved that reputation, properly managed, becomes a form of wealth that transcends physical assets. Their story becomes a template for future financial institutions. Start with a noble purpose, build unshakable trust, innovate constantly, and remember that success itself can become your greatest vulnerability. Modern banks still use principles the Templars developed 7 centuries ago. Credit transfers, international banking networks, and standardized financial procedures all trace their ancestry back to those 9 knights who simply wanted to help pilgrims travel safely. The Templars' rise and fall demonstrates that revolutionary ideas can emerge from unexpected places, that trust remains the foundation of all financial systems, and that even the most powerful institutions must remain humble enough to serve the people who made their success possible. As their story fades into legend, the Templars' innovations continue shaping the world in ways they never could have imagined, proving that sometimes the most lasting treasures are the ones you can't see or touch. As our journey through the treasury of Templar history draws to a gentle close, let us settle into the quiet wisdom that echoes across 8 centuries, from those medieval commanderies to the banks on your street corner today. The story of the Knights Templar offers us a mirror in which to examine our own relationship with money, trust, and the eternal human desire to build something meaningful. Their tale whispers lessons that remain as relevant today as they were in 1119. Consider the fundamental insight that launched their financial revolution. Money is not really about coins or bills or digital numbers on screens. Money is about trust. The Templars discovered that people will gladly trade heavy gold for a piece of parchment, but only if they absolutely believe that parchment will be honoured. This principle governs every financial transaction in your modern world. When you tap your card at a coffee shop, you're participating in the same leap of faith that medieval pilgrims made when they accepted Templar letters of credit. The technology has evolved, but the underlying trust remains unchanged. The Templars also understood something that modern entrepreneurs often forget. The most successful businesses begin not with the desire to make money, but with the genuine intention to solve problems for other people. 9 knights who wanted to help pilgrims accidentally created Europe's first international bank. Their success reminds us that profit follows purpose, not the other way around. When you focus on genuinely serving others, financial success often arrives as a natural consequence. The Templars became wealthy because they made other people's lives better, not because they set out to accumulate riches. But their downfall teaches equally valuable lessons about the relationship between success and humility. The Templars grew so powerful that they forgot they were servants first, bankers second. Their wealth became visible enough to attract dangerous envy, and their power became threatening enough to provoke destructive opposition. In your own financial journey, remember that true wealth includes the wisdom to remain humble. The most successful people often are those who remember their original purpose, even as their circumstances change dramatically. The Templars' story also illustrates the importance of innovation in times of change. When they lost Jerusalem, they could have simply disbanded and returned to their farms. Instead, they reinvented themselves as European bankers, transforming a devastating military defeat into an opportunity for financial expansion. Change is the only constant in both medieval and modern economies. The organizations that survive are those that adapt their methods while maintaining their core values. The Templars kept their commitment to service while completely transforming how they provided that service. Their international network demonstrates lessons about globalization that remain relevant today. The Templars succeeded because they understood that economic boundaries differ from political ones. A merchant in London might have more in common with a trader in Venice than with his own neighbour. Modern technology has made the world even smaller than the Templars could have imagined, but the principle remains the same. Success often comes from thinking beyond local limitations and building connections across traditional boundaries. The mystery surrounding their lost treasure teaches us something profound about the nature of wealth itself. Physical gold can be hidden, stolen, or lost, but the ideas and innovations the Templars created continue to generate value centuries after their deaths. The most lasting wealth isn't what you can hold in your hands, but what you can share with others. The Templars' real treasure was their knowledge, their systems, and their understanding of human nature. These intangible assets survived their destruction and continue creating value today. Their story reminds us that individual success is often temporary, but contributions to human knowledge and capability can be permanent. The Templars as an organization disappeared, but their innovations in banking, international finance, and organizational management continue benefiting people worldwide. As you navigate your own financial journey, remember that the most satisfying success comes from building something larger than yourself. The Templars found meaning not in their personal wealth, but in their ability to serve others and solve important problems. Their tale also offers comfort for those facing financial challenges. The Templars experienced both tremendous success and catastrophic failure, yet their story didn't end with their destruction. Their ideas survived, evolved, and continue influencing our world. Financial setbacks, while painful, are rarely permanent. The skills, knowledge, and relationships you build during difficult times often become the foundation for future success. The Templars' legacy reminds us that even apparent failures can contribute to longer-term achievements. In our modern world of complex financial instruments and global markets, it's easy to forget that banking and finance exist to serve human needs. The Templars never lost sight of their original purpose, helping people achieve their goals safely and efficiently. Whether you're saving for retirement, starting a business, or simply trying to manage your monthly budget, remember that money is a tool for creating the life you want, not an end in itself. The Templars understood that wealth's true value lies in what it enables you to do for yourself and others. As you close your eyes tonight, carry with you the knowledge that the financial systems that shape your daily life were born from the simple desire of 9 knights to help fellow travelers reach their destinations safely. Their story continues in every act of trust, every innovative solution, and every moment when someone chooses to serve others rather than simply serve themselves. Until our next treasury tale unfolds, this is The Sleeping Economist, reminding you that money may have changed its form throughout history, but the human stories behind it remain timelessly fascinating. Sleep well, and may your dreams be filled with the wisdom of ages past and the golden threads that connect us all through time.